Wessex LMCs supporting you and your practice.
Now we're going to move to the first of our emergency motions, and just to remind you, they're the motions in the supplementary agenda, and the first is marked as 249 in the supplementary agenda and is about PCSE, and I'd like to invite Sarah Kay from Dorset to propose the motion.
Thank you, Chair. So my declaration of interest is that my pension is administered by PCSE, and I have had a lot of interaction with PCSE regarding pension issues. Let's be clear, one of the only remaining good things about working for the NHS is the pension. The current system and its administration by PCSE is very sadly not fit for purpose. It causes a great deal of stress and takes a lot of time for both practice managers and GPs. There are often lengthy delays and requests for resubmission of paperwork. There are often problems with the portal functionality. There are lengthy delays with the complaints process even. Some GPs starting their careers feel they do not want to continue working in the NHS because of PCSE and pension problems. Some people at the other end of their career finish sooner than they otherwise would because they do not want any more difficulties or hassle regarding pension paperwork. While it affects nearly all GPs, it disproportionately affects portfolio GPs as the system can't cope with multiple employers. Locums have to complete monthly Forms A and B as well as annual Type 2 practitioner forms. It is not a small number of GPs affected. In fact, I'm not sure I know a single GP who doesn't have a problem with elements of the pension, and those that think that it may not apply to them probably haven't checked. Missing years and delays in information being updated culminates in a complete inability to get timely financial advice, which places GPs at a disadvantage versus hospital colleagues. No financial advisor can advise on liabilities regarding annual allowance, for example, without accurate and timely information on pension payments and growth. Please, can we have an update on actions taken regarding motions from previous years? This issue is not only harming financial and mental well-being of GPs and practice managers and impacting quality of life, but also limiting the duration of the GP's working life. This impacts patients. It is clear that we need a new provider, and the process of tendering and subsequent selection needs to be clear and transparent so that the government is not allowed to repeat the mistakes of the past. Please can GPC prioritise this in negotiations? Thank you.
We're going to now move to the chosen motion, another one by Dorset. Well done, Dorset, for getting your act together. And it's motion 250, and I'd like to invite Simon Wright to propose the motion. Thank you.
There's nothing funny going on in Dorset Conference, don't worry. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Conference, for your choice of chosen motions. Conference, clearly we all want to deliver gold standards of care. We would not be GPs if we did not. But, Conference, we must acknowledge that we do not work in a system that is breaking, we work in a system which is now broken. In this system, put plainly, demand now far outstrips supply. Conference, we all know that our personal efforts to support this shortfall only go so far. Taken to the extreme, we are now exhausted, exasperated and professionally unfulfilled. Working in the background, completely disjointed of what is happening on the ground, we have the proliferation of guidance, largely produced by the National Institute of Clinical Excellence. These guidelines exist in a complete vacuum and imply how we ought to treat our patients, with little or no acknowledgement of the complexities of patient presentations in 10-minute appointments, and certainly no understanding of neither the huge supply and demand mismatch that now exists in modern general practice, nor of local referral pathways which may or may not exist in reality. That word guideline itself bothers me increasingly these days too. To us, correctly, a guideline is something that acts just as that, a guide. However, increasingly, to the GMC and certain members of the legal profession, these are standards to be judged against, and I can confirm that firsthand. By way of an example, I would direct you towards a set of guidance updated by NICE on the 31st of October this year surrounding the management of suspected lower respiratory tract infections. This guideline particularly surrounds the remote assessment of patients over the age of 16. Before I go on, I should point out that the guideline is at pains to state that it does not apply to the remote assessment of patients who could have COVID-19 because, conference, as we all know, the symptoms of a patient with COVID-19 are so radically different from every other respiratory tract infection that any clinician can easily tell the difference over the phone, or easier still, via an e-consult. This guideline states that healthcare professionals should not prescribe antimicrobials remotely and should instead always assess the patient face-to-face. Now, aside from the large doses of COVID-19 that the collective profession can expect to receive this winter as a result of patient-to-clinician transmission when we comply with this guidance, what are we to do about the huge number of 111 contacts that are about to come our way? True compliance with this guideline will result in a staggering increase in workload that we cannot hope to shoulder this winter, a winter in which, at least in Dorset, funding for acute respiratory hubs has been withdrawn. This guideline is a clear example of a complete disconnect and a lack of understanding of the realities of modern-day general practice and the pressures we work under. Conference, guidelines such as this remove the ability for us to personalise care to the individual patient when their compliance is enforced retrospectively. And personalised care is what we do every day because it is the absolute bedrock of general practice. Cookbook medicine reduces patients to statistics and GPs to robots, or should I say artificial intelligence? I haven't decided yet. Conference, I'm not saying that we should depart from aspiring to gold standards, merely that a significant reality check is in order. Conference, I move.
Wessex LMCs supporting you and your practice.